It is time for the Stu Guys pregame show. I get a minute or so every day to talk about some things I want to talk about, get some things off my chest. Danny, how much time do we have today?
We begin the week with 1 minute.
All right, 1 minute. Lorenzo, our producer up in D.C., sends me a rundown every single day with some stuff he wants me to talk about during the pregame show. I'm going to take a stroll down his rundown and respond to him, okay? Kansas beats Duke. Are you convinced the better team won? No, I'm not. What a bad question. Loyola makes the Final Four. It's a great story. But do you take them seriously among the Blue Bloods? Also, some stuff about Sister Jean. I got a little something for Sister Jean later on in the show. Steph Curry on the shelf. Kerr says he's not going to play in the first round. What does this do to the NBA playoffs? It does nothing to the NBA playoffs. If he misses the second round, maybe we're on to something. First round, it does absolutely nothing. They will win that series in 4 games. Can you really see the Giants dealing Odell Beckham Jr.? Gettleman, I dare you. I dare you, Gettleman. I dare you to trade the best player on your team because you think you're more of the reason that the team's going to have success than Odell Beckham Jr.
Live from ESPN Studios in South Beach. It's the Dan Levitard Show with the Stugats.
My life is likened to a
We're starting right now, Jim Brockmeyer. Right now. We are very close to starting. We are starting right now. Jim Brockmeyer, this is not surprising, is a soulmate, a kindred spirit with Stugats. They've been talking Mets. They've been talking Jets. They've been talking about naked pooping. Both of them are naked poopers, evidently. We'll get to all of that in a second. But before we do, we got a fake Trump Gots that's just been released, fresh off the presses. Wow. Hank Azaria made this guy's life and career by saying that this was a 10. This Trump impersonator. We got a Trump impersonator who takes things Stugats has actually said and says them in Trump's voice. So here it is, Trump Gots making an appearance.
Listen, I am jealous of Sister Jean. And so what I do is I lash out when I'm jealous of attention that people are getting for no reason. I get, that's what I do. I lash out. And so I have lashed out at Sister Jean because she has somehow made this entire NCAA tournament about Sister Jean. That is what she has done. And when asked about her new fame, being a national star, she responded, "I'm not a national star. I'm an international star." I mean, give me a break, Jean. Honestly, seriously. She has somehow made this entire run by Loyola Chicago and the entire NCAA tournament about herself. And I'm tired of her. That's all. And here's the thing about Sister Jean. She didn't even have one bracket. She had 2 brackets. One has her school winning. One has another school winning. Sister Jean just likes the attention, so she does whatever she has to do to get it. That's it. Simple. Boom.
So Jim Brockmeyer, I don't know how he feels about this, but season 2 of Brockmeyer premieres April 25th on IFC. We've told you, if you like this show, if you like our show, you will like Brockmeyer. Again, premieres season 2, April 25th on IFC. He is a dirty, drug-addicted baseball announcer in the minor leagues. He is with us now. Jim Brockmeyer, what are your thoughts there on Stugats' attack and Trump Gots' attack on Sister Jean?
Well, first of all, Dan Levitard, I'm not dirty. I mean, the other things you said, but I'm quite clean. I mean, awash, as my family in the Ozarks used to pronounce it. So ease off on the dirty. That's the first thing. Second of all, before I get to Stugats and Trump Gots and whatever the heck just happened there, which couldn't have been longer, by the way. I mean, I took a nap in the middle of that, woke up, it was still happening.
Yeah, really interrupted your flow. Like it's Jim Brockmeyer's time here on the national stage.
His flow hadn't started.
I couldn't get going. I mean,
well, actually, to be fair, the way it started was with the first words on the show were you saying, "Are we close to starting?" So,
so I did get the first word in at least. Well, because I was sitting here quite a while, and then we had the Stugats, Trump Gots rant. But before I get into that, which I'm going to get into because I hated it, everything about it. I want to say thank you for having me, and Dan Levitard, you're an inspiration. All you guys, I'm a big fan of all you guys. You're all wonderful. But to those, the rest of us in broadcasting, you're an inspiration. You really are. You guys are funny and topical and insightful. But for a man, Dan, for a man who so many times has been told, as you must have been, that you have a face for radio.
Yeah.
To put your radio show on the television.
Yeah, I know.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
To find the back door into
Right,
TV.
it really is the back door.
No, because really, for most folks, being just caked in sweat, having a sheath of perspiration at all times, that would be a detriment to being on television. But what you did, you're from Miami, you put the show here,
Made
you
it
can see
work.
Miami in the background.
Yeah.
So your disturbing way your body regulates itself just seems like Florida humidity. So that's tremendous. Kudos. You're playing fourth dimensional chess. The rest of us are playing checkers. So, congratulations. Now, Stugatz.
Yes.
Oh, he's got something for you too.
Well, no. Now we got to get to the Trump thing.
Okay.
Because that was your rant
That was my rant, yeah.
about Sister Jean.
Yes.
Which that's hate-filled and weird and no.
It is.
Well, it was.
It was
bitter. I don't
was
want
bitter,
to.
yeah.
This is a saintly woman who loves basketball. Okay, and
Dismissed her by just calling her Jean, like removing the sister.
You didn't even say sister. You said Jean. I
Yeah.
just look. If you wanted to, may I make a suggestion to you? The copious snark that you have,
Right.
the mysterious level of bitterness towards mankind that you display a lot, quite frankly.
Right.
Why not point it at the Catholic Church that Sister Jean represents?
Whoa!
Yeah.
No. Well, no, let's face it. That thing has been like a secret cabal of power-hungry weirdos since Martin Luther trolled them in 1517.
Whoa! Wait a minute.
Wait, was that too far?
You ratcheted this thing
I
up.
feel like you're just
that
getting
go- are you
started.
Catholic,
No,
man? Let me
no, you went from Sister Jean to taking on the whole Catholic
Well,
Church. I mean,
yeah.
all Stugatz did was take out
Well-
one Jean.
Well, because Jean's lovely, but the Catholic Church, I mean, they're like more obviously hateful than Scientology, aren't they? More like Scientology, but more obvious hate, evil, more obvious evil, I would say. Right?
I don't think that's
No,
something
is that
that you're
too far?
allowed to say.
Not allowed to say? Should I apologize?
I know.
All right, I want to apologize. No, let me apologize because I'm going to get everybody in trouble.
You don't need to apologize for anything.
I want to
You're Brockmire.
apologize
No,
to the people in Scientology for comparing you to the Catholic Church, because that was too far. That was unfair. Anyway, Stugatz,
Yes.
lighten up on old lady.
Is this what we're in for? Like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with everything that's happening around here. Jim Brockmire, look, we got to sign all sorts of waivers and liability anytime anyone's in a microphone, and we're allowing this dirty guy. And you know when he said something about me entering the back door, you know what he was thinking about. Because he's foul. On this show, he is, yes or no, Jim Brockmire is a bit of a sexual deviant.
I would say more that he feels comfortable expressing himself simply, especially after about 9 rye whiskeys, some Viagra, and some Percocet.
Did you have any final thoughts this weekend? We will get to Jim Brockmire's thoughts. Again, Brockmire premieres April 25th.
Can I go to final four thoughts?
But I'm just using you as a bridge to get to more Jim Brockmire thoughts on the Final Four. Do you have anything on what happened this weekend?
Loyola Chicago can beat anybody.
You think so?
Yes.
They are, they're the heroes, the Cinderella heroes versus the chalk of the rest of this Final Four tournament. But you know what the true unsung heroes of this tournament are? The Kansas and Villanova and Michigan bagmen. No, I'm serious.
Yes,
They're just,
yes.
come on, let's give it up for them. They're
Let's give it up for the bagmen. The guys who work in sales in college basketball.
Well, what they are is balding sacks of desperation who are just barely held together by their big and tall sports coats. And all they had a dream, right? They wanted to put some money in the hands of some very tall kids and buy their schools a championship.
That's right. And they're
And
closer than ever.
They're going to do it.
Yes.
They're going to hang a banner in one of those
Unless
three,
Loyola screws it up.
unless Loyola comes along and messes it up for everybody. But Stugatz will be happy about that because Sister Jean will get
Yes.
come up.
Yes.
But they're going to hang a banner in one of those arenas until 2 years later when the NCAA makes them remove it.
Right.
And then this whole season, this
That's
whole
right.
wonderful
That's right.
season is
That's
going to be
right.
like it never happened.
Right. Unless Loyola wins.
Unless
Yeah,
Loyola
unless they
sticks
win.
on there. But then Sister Jean will become insufferable, and it'll be a victory for the Catholic Church.
Exactly. So, it's a
Become
little...
insufferable. I mean,
Yeah, keep piling it on.
Mike, is there anyone who's anti-Sister Jean the way Stugatz is anti-Sister Jean?
No, he's really carved out that
He's
lane.
carved out the area on what it is that, like, nobody else is ripping Sister Jean.
well, here's the problem. When I look in the mirror, what looks back at me is Sister Jean. So what I've learned through all of this is I don't like myself. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $620. The blacktux.com is your new way to rent suits and tuxedos online. To get $20 off your purchase, visit theblacktux.com/Dan. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Final Four is set for Saturday as Loyola Chicago will take on Michigan and Villanova will battle Kansas. Steve Kerr says that Steph Curry will miss the first round of the NBA playoffs. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. We're on the move starting April 2nd. Check us out on ESPN News. For all the details, go to Levitardshow.com.
I wonder the religion of this texter right here, because some people are writing in, and a lot of praise for Jim Brockmeyer coming in here and urinating on the proceedings, calling him transcendent. But somebody's writing in here, Jesus, I have never heard such a cringy segment.
Is that guy?
I just don't think that you should start that with Jesus.
More than Stu from the Clevelander on ESPN Radio.
Today, right now, you have more power at your fingertips than entire generations that came before you. But it's not really about what technology can do. It's about what you can do with it. We are living in the future we always dreamed of. We have mixed reality that changes how we see the world, and AI empowering us to change the world we see. So what will you do with it?
It's the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event, and you can get a great deal on the Honda Pilot. It has a roomy interior that seats up to 8. Or 1.
The Honda Dream Garage Spring Event is on now.
Tournament time, and the Wendy's Wooden Watch is almost over. Go to ESPN.com and search Wooden Watch for the list of Wooden Award top 15 nominees to watch as this season rolls on. Keep an eye out for Mikal Bridges. Villanova's junior guard is averaging 18 points per game, snagging 5.4 rebounds per game. He's also hitting 52% from the field, 45% from three. The Wooden Watch is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2018 John R. Wooden Player of the Year Award.
Jim Brockmeyer in with us all show today. Season 2 of Brockmeyer premieres April 25th on IFC. If you like this show, I assure you, you will like that one. It is exceptional. Jim Brockmeyer himself is exceptional. He's, as I said, dirty and delinquent, but he's an exceptional broadcaster from another time.
You're doubling down on the dirty thing.
Well, I mean, do you want to tell people how season 2 started? Do you want to tell people how season 2 of Brockmeyer starts, or is it a secret? Or there was a certain dirtiness in how season 2 starts, but it's not out yet.
Well, let's call it risque, because dirty implies that I don't wash, and we've been over this.
Right? Okay, we have been over that. Let's update our tournament. Jim Brockmeyer was kind enough to update. He did our entire tournament. He did this for free, and
that's my going rate. That's what I get offered, and that's usually what I take.
All right, so Loyola Chicago has advanced. That means Loyola Chicago represented. This is in the Final Four. This right here, as read by Jim Brockmeyer, is in the Final Four.
Will Kane looks like a preacher on television asking you at home to put your hand on the screen to receive a prayer.
So that's an 11 seed, and it's in the Final Four.
Well, I really am beaten up on religion today,
yes,
aren't I? Really taking it to Christianity.
Kansas State, a 9 seed. That yammering Bruce Weber is gone. Yeah, for yammering Bruce Weber and his boys, that means this is gone.
Vance Joseph looks like he can, quote, smell bull from a mile away.
Yeah, the coach of the Broncos? Or is that the coach? Yeah, the coach of the Broncos. Yeah. Florida State is out. Leonard Hamilton is not happy about that. Florida State is out. That means this is out.
Danny Cannell looks like a disguise worn by Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
It's true. It's true.
That hurts, man. I didn't realize. I forgot that was on
it's gone.
State,
It's gone, but this advances. This means Michigan advances.
Pete Carroll looks like your wife's former college professor who, when she's pressed on the nature of their relationship, evasively replies, "Oh, that was a million years ago."
Okay, I feel better now.
I like that one. That was one of my favorites, personally. Cool. Can I, well, I don't want to interrupt the flow too much.
No,
but
go
I
ahead.
notice when it's, the shot that's from above my head
Yeah, it's-
really shows off my bald spot.
That's what we were going for. That's why we sat you there.
Is this purposefully
Do you
done?
want to change spots?
You wanna
with
switch
Scott?
it?
No, that would,
better?
there's no room in here. That would take too much work. Squeeze myself over there.
Are you surprised by how small the studio is?
I'm shocked, yeah.
You're used to big Hollywood productions, are you?
Yes,
You worked on Birdcage?
No, I do Brockmire for $12, but we still have a bigger set than that. And it's also, it's like we're inside the pages of a comic book. Or a
Texas Tech in the East is gone. Texas Tech was represented by.
Trey Wingo sounds like a 3-count chicken wing appetizer dish at a Mexican restaurant run by white people.
Oh.
Yeah, that's sad that that's gone.
Oh,
man.
Oh.
That one took me a few tries to get through. I kept laughing at that. Because I realized what the joke was halfway through. I'm like, oh, Trey Wingo, I get it. 3 wings. I understand.
That means Villanova advances. That means this advances over Trey Wingo. Sounds like a 3-count chicken wing appetizer dish at a Mexican restaurant run by white people.
Jackie McMullen looks like your mom's friend Carol.
It does look like your mom's friend.
There's 2 great teams. Someone had to lose.
That's right. But Guillermo, put it on the poll. Who would you have rather advance there? The Trey Wingo Mexican restaurant dish, or Jackie McMullen? And Duke is gone. That was the best game. That felt like it was for the championship. Duke loses, and that means this is gone.
Pete Carroll looks like the guy at the funeral of someone who died of old age and natural causes, who looks in the coffin and says, "He never looked better."
A lot of people are happy that Duke is gone.
Yes.
Because our #1 overall seed advances. This is still in the tournament.
All right. Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife. Yeah. Well, whoops. That one was so good I dropped out of character.
It seems that Brockmire might not be the only one who's dirty. It seems like Hank might be a little bit too.
Oh, I had flashbacks to my adolescence there. Oh, there, I'm back. Okay. No, that was a good one. That one, you jammed on that one on the air. We had all kinds of versions. Crazy Simpsons characters, whatever, what have you.
You want to play that batch for the audience, Mike? Because we can't play that enough. Hank Azaria doing the batch of Simpsons characters, doing the #1 overall seed. We are all now rooting, correct? Scott, for Bill Self and them boys.
Yes, we are. I mean, you have to be. For our tournament, yes, we are rooting for Kansas to win it.
It's got to be the best of what's remaining here.
Yeah, it's special. Is it special because it gets repeated so much, or is it good on its own? It's good just by itself.
Oh, I think it's just good on its own.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it is clearly a deserving #1 overall seed and in a tournament of upsets, because we've had plenty this year. Lord knows, good lot. What is that Loyola team even doing still in this tournament? But let's just play all of the characters that Hank did from The Simpsons doing our #1 overall seed.
I hear this guy's talented.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife. I know that I do.
Do the cop.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife.
That's Carl from his friend Carl.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife.
Oh, the bartender enjoyed that.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife. There, I said it.
Comic book guy.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife.
I don't think Nick Riviera. I'm like Stugatz all of a sudden. I can't speak.
What happened? What was
I
the
think
thought?
Nick Riviera didn't understand what he was saying. But anyway,
that's a tongue twister.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife.
Chief Wiggum got a kick out of it.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife. Why, with the touching and the rubbing.
Professor Frank weighing in.
Jeff Fisher looks like he totally drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife.
Snake the convict.
Jeff Fisher looks like he drafted Todd Gurley because he wanted to watch Todd Gurley have sex with his wife. Oh, yeah.
It's so embarrassing. Tough man is so embarrassing.
Great, so great.
I don't know, but I hear that the guy who records Duffman and all those voices, it can't do, has to do Duffman last always because it blows his voice out. He would have done the whole tournament as Duffman, but he could only have gotten through like 5.
Really?
Is that right?
Yeah, right.
Is that right?
That's absolutely true. I hear.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Brockmeyer, you seem to be a very big fan of The Simpsons. Amazing.
Yeah, I know a lot about him.
Make me a bicycle, clown.
Mike, I want a song remix with the Duffman. Oh yeah, coming out of the break. I want the oh yeah. I want a song coming out of the break, leading us into the next segment with Jim Brockmeyer, who's been kind enough to join us here on ESPN Radio. A reminder: Brockmeyer IFC. It premieres at the beginning of April, April 25th, I think. The end of April. It's the end of April.
Which is Hank Azaria's birthday, by the way.
Hank
The guy who does the
birthday.
voices for the
guy,
Simpsons.
well, you know a lot about him.
Yeah, I know. Creepy him out.
And that's a fun.
That's a fine. The beginning of the week, at
On
the end
start
of the week.
date, yeah. Well, beginning of the month, end of the month. That's
Another
another
fun.
fun, yeah.
1-800-Flower Spring is here, and with that come the tulips. If you want the best tulips, 1-800-Flowers is where you go. Stugatz, tell them about 1-800-Flowers, a supporter of ours, a strong supporter of ours.
Yep, and right now, 1-800-Flowers is giving our listeners an exclusive 30 for 30 offer, 30 assorted tulips for just $30. An incredible deal. These assorted tulips are perfect for surprising loved ones for Easter, spring birthdays, or even just because. Just pick your delivery date, and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. To order 30 stunning assorted tulips for only $30, simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DAN. Order today and save only at 1-800-Flowers.com. Make sure you use code DAN.
You're listening to the titillating Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I can see a light.
Don't we have imaging for that superhero, Captain Hindsight, or whatever it is, where he just sort of arrives and offers you some sort of opinion that's not helpful, that just makes you feel worse about what you already felt bad about?
Captain Hindsight.
Dan, bringing Brian Urlacher back was a bad idea.
Captain Hindsight.
It sounds like the announcer describing Hassan Whiteside making a dunk.
Hindsight.
Oh, yeah. 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 Jeff Fisher. Oh, yeah. Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher. Oh, yeah. Have sex with his wife. Todd Gurley. Jeff Fisher. Oh, yeah. Have sex with his wife. Have sex with his wife. Todd Gurley.
Wow, that was something. Coming out of that. I'm more of a. I know you kids enjoy that music. I prefer the Sinatra, Tony Bennett. Oh, that was wonderful. All right. Boy, I've always wanted to do a Sports Center update. You know, ESPN wouldn't have me. Right. Or rather, they would, but then I messed it up with with several of their wives. But anyway. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance. Pennzoil. I see. I got Stugat sitting across from me, and I said Pennzoil. Yep. You guys are going to replay that one a lot, aren't you? Pennzoil Performance Line. Except for me, I'm here in person. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app, join, and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. A whopping 5 cents a gallon today. And now your Sports Center update. The Final Four is set. For Saturday, as Loyola Chicago will take on Michigan and Villanova will battle Kansas. Steve Kerr says that Steph Curry, as he's more widely known, will miss the first round of the NBA playoff. Wow, a lot of Stugats in. And finally, Mad Mike Hughes, the man who believes the Earth is flat and is hell-bent on strapping himself to a homemade rocket to prove it to people, propelled himself about 1,875 feet into the air Saturday before a really hard landing in the Mojave Desert east of Los Angeles. He sounds like a genius. The severity of Mad Mike Hughes' injuries is unknown, but it is believed he'll be fine. This was actually the second time he's constructed and launched a rocket. He said he jumped on a rocket on private property in Winkleman, Arizona in 2014 and traveled 1,374 feet, so I guess he broke his own record there, and among other things. He collapsed right after that landing, and he needed 3 days to recover. Right. Boy, I thought I just imagined all this in a coyote-induced stupor, but no, this really happened.
It's a thing that happened.
For the latest headlines and information, tune in to Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Season 2 of Brockmire premieres April 25th on IFC. Stugat, you're a Mets fan. How do you feel about the entire Tim Tebow experience? You've got Sandy Alderson. I can't believe that he is still in baseball, the general manager of the Mets, who was old when I was covering baseball in 1993.
He was old when we were kids.
I mean, he was old when I was a kid, and now he's still old and still running the Mets. And what do you make of him saying that Tebow...
He's all the Mets can afford.
That's exactly right.
That Tebow's going to be in the big leagues. That his projections are that at some point Tebow, they expect him to be in the big leagues.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Whether or not he deserves to be in the big leagues or not, whether or not it's a money grab or not, and I suspect it's probably more of a money grab than it is anything. I'm totally cool with that.
That's the actual. Pardon me. That's the actual catchphrase of the Mets this season. That says that on City Field.
It does. Huh?
It's more of a money grab than anything.
Yeah.
They get promotional giveaways.
Yeah. Tebow, more of a money grab than anything.
The whole thing, the whole team, everything. Those are like giveaway days. It's more of a money grab than anything bag day.
As a Met fan, though, we've had precious little to be excited about. So, I mean, who cares? Tim Tebow comes up, he takes a couple of hacks. A lot of people come out to see him. I'm good with that.
Does Jim Brockmire love or hate Tim Tebow?
Love. Absolutely adore Tim Tebow. I mean, I've been a public record about. I loved him as a football player too. I mean, he had the leadership of Ray Lewis combined with the throwing ability of Ray Lewis. He was wonderful. I mean, he was everything that you'd want
right.
in an NFL franchise quarterback,
right.
except for accuracy and footwork, ball security.
Right.
And the ability to take a snap under center. And I guess read an NFL defense. But other than that, he was a franchise guy. I was shocked that they threw him out of the league. I was genuinely upset. Because he's a tall, handsome white guy. Yeah. Isn't that all you need to be a franchise quarterback? That's been my understanding.
It's the way it should be, really.
That was my understanding. So I don't know how they broke that.
Prototypical, you would say.
Yes, he's the guy. Yes. What more do you need? I mean, I missed him. Can I reveal something personal about myself as it relates to Tim Tebow? I missed him so dearly when they threw him out of football that I once paid a very handsome youth pastor, going after religion again here now. This is true, though. I paid a handsome youth pastor to go out in the parking lot and just throw footballs into the dirt so I could just watch him do it. But it wasn't the same. But now he's in baseball. And sure, he's going to very soon get his undeserved shot in the bigs.
Right.
And I will be there giving him a standing ovation when he hits that weak ground out to second base.
Fielder's choice.
Unfortunately, he swings a baseball bat like Ray Lewis as well.
He actually swings a baseball bat, to be technical about it, like a blindfolded dad trying to be the hero and break open a piñata. That's actually how he swings a baseball. But you know, it's not so easy. It's easy for us to laugh at Tim Tebow, but it's not so easy to be so entertainingly terrible at two different sports. He's like the bizarro Bo Jackson. You know? I mean, is there anything that the man can't not do? I say no. God bless him, literally.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You're listening to the sensational Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Good job, boys. Only 2 more periods to go.
Only 2 more periods to go.
And the glory days are over.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Hockey with the boys isn't always rewarding, but Hotels.com is. Unlock instant savings now and earn free nights to use later. Hotels.com.
So Chris Sims joins us now on Bleacher Report. Tell me, what do you think of the analysis of quarterbacks?
Chris works for Bleacher Report. He's on ESPN Radio. Fine, double. I'm listening today. I'm sorry.
Chris Sims of Bleacher Report on ESPN Radio. What do you do? Did you just send yourself to the penalty box? Is that what just happened? Get out of here. Go sit in the penalty chair.
It's the last dance. Oh yeah. We've come to the last dance. Oh yeah. They're dimming the lights down.
Jeff Fisher.
They're hoping
Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show. Up here via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, Bomani Jones going to be there at noon Eastern with us. Get in touch with the show anytime through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed at Le Batard Show, at Stugat790, at Hank Azaria. It's an odd Twitter handle for Brockmeyer, but it's his Twitter handle.
That's weird.
Yeah,
He's got, he's got a single white male thing going on with this Azaria, this Jim Brockmeyer.
It doesn't feel like spring without the first tulips of the season from 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order 30 assorted tulips from 1-800-Flowers, you'll get them for only $30. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN.
A tweeter writes in at Le Batard Show, our thanks to Jim Brockmeyer for being in studio with us. Brockmeyer Season 2. It's a tremendous television show. It's funny. It's on IFC. Its second season debuts April 25th. But a tweeter writes in, for the life of me, I cannot see what this show has to do with sports.
Is that guy?
Another tweeter writes in, yeah, this will end my streak of consecutive Le Batard shows. I cannot deal with 3 hours of this Jim Brockmeyer person.
Wow.
You don't get the show.
If they were listening, the streak continues, though.
I mean, I don't know. Jim Brockmeyer's not used to receiving rage, the sports radio rage, is he? Jim Brockmeyer is an old-timey baseball announcer, beloved by his people.
Rage is what I'm pretty much used to. That was actually a lot nicer than I usually get. But
people hate you?
Oh yes, openly, quite openly. Well, after a while, you know. At the beginning of the night, no. Then after about 7 to 9 cocktails, so sure.
Did you know, Mike, that Jim Brockmeyer has a legendary feud with Brent Musburger? That
you're not going to bring that up?
Well, I
Bringing
already
it up.
did. Now it's too late. I'm sorry to dig up a part of your past that you might not be comfortable with. Brent Musburger's an icon. Why would you feud with him?
I don't love talking about that. But first of all, the guy who just gave us crap, the social media, the interweb, whatever you people call it, We are talking. We've been talking about sports the whole time. I mean, Tebow and Musburger, and now, thanks to you, and the Final Four. I mean, that's all sports related, is it not?
A lot of people are writing in that you should have called him Tebow Jackson. You should have called him, instead of Bizarro Jackson, Tebow Jackson.
Tebow Jackson? All right. All right.
I mean, criticizing what was a very, very
It was
line.
funny the way it was. I'm not disputing it. It's the text on the interweb.
My goodness. Well, you read this right as you're doing, and you're still able to do the show by reading everything people are thinking. Any thought anybody has comes right out
That's right.
to the vitriolic screen, and you just read it.
That's right.
And
That's
then you repeat it. My goodness, it's quite an existence you've carved out. Anyway, Musburger, I don't like to. Say that?
I mean, no, but...
Well, I just did. That's what he is.
All right.
And his face is annoying, right?
His face.
Everybody hates his face. Nobody likes his face. As far as I've never heard anybody. I don't. Well, see. Let's see what your machine, your magic machine, tells you about what people think of Musburger's face. But about 15, 20 years ago, we got into it a little bit over the pronunciation of. You remember Kent Herbeck? Remember him?
Yes.
Remember him?
First baseman for the Twins.
Yes. Exactly. And I'm pretty sure he's in the Fat Guy Hall of Fame too.
I think so.
But
He should be.
I speak a little bit of Czech, and the actual correct pronunciation of his name is Herbeck. You got to roll the R, Herbeck. Okay, and I told that to Musburger because he asked me. He said, am I pronouncing this correctly? I'm like, well, if you want to know, actually, it's Herbeck. And you know what he said to me? He said, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I said, well, you asked me, first of all. And second of all, what kind of attitude is that? I took it as a slight to the Czech people, quite frankly. And one thing led to another. And he ended up, I don't know how to say this. He took a dump in my hotel bed. Okay? And he did.
Wait a minute. But why? What was your history? Why would it escalate to there?
There wasn't a small amount of alcohol involved. But I don't know. I think he did it on purpose. I can't be totally sure. But, I mean, it was funny. But it was also very unsanitary and highly uncalled for. But you know what? We put that behind us, believe it or not, literally. But mostly what pees me I don't know what I can say on the air.
That's pretty good. No, pees me that's
about
Musburger. That's the proper
Isn't
Disney
that-
way to say it. Pees me
Pees me which this is a cereal, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. It's
Kellogg's Pees me
Yeah, that's terrible. Tastes like urine.
Yeah. He's now this Vegas bookmaker, whatever he is. He's a bookie, whatever he is. And he hasn't given me one tip, not one sweet little tip for Jim Brockmeyer. Now, you know, I need money. I got bills to pay. And he knows that. I mean, I don't, rye whiskey and Viagra and Percocet, as I've said, they cost money. They do not grow on trees. You know what, though? If those three things grew on trees, do you know where I bet that tree would be planted? At Jim Irsay's house. Don't you think? I think so. You know, Dan.
Guillermo, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. If Vicodin, Percocet, and what else was it? Grew on trees.
But and rye whiskey.
And rye whiskey. Would that tree only exist in Jim Irsay's garden?
I think so. Levitard, you should hang out with Irsay. Because, you both have glandular problems, and you could, support each other through it. I feel that. Anyway, that's Musburger.
That's it. That's the story.
That's what I had on Musburger.
The dump in the bed begs up follow-up questions about your history. It escalated very quickly to over Herbeck. That seems an unusual thing.
That's Musburger for you.
That's how we respond.
Yeah, that's how.
I don't think people know that about Musburger.
1 second you're talking about a baseball player's name, but the next second there's feces in your bed sheets.
People are writing in here, Musburger is a bleep hole. And when you hear that story, of course it's shocking to hear. Can we put that on the ESPN scroll somewhere? Jim Brockmeyer accuses Brent Musburger of taking a dump in his bed over the pronunciation of Herbeck.
What happened? What happened? It's a 30 for 30, I think. It's going to be a 30 for 30.
Second down and 9.
Insufferable. Just the sound of his voice makes me need to go potty.
Second down and 9.
Wow. Is it your biggest rivalry in sports? Do you have a bigger rival? Does Jim Brockmeyer Season 2, IFC, April 25th. Does Jim Brockmeyer have a bigger rival in sports than Brent Musburger?
Well, I don't care for that Joe Buck, but that's just because I'm bitterly jealous. Man calls everything. You know. I mean, he doesn't say no to any gig. Has he said no to any gig in the last 10 years?
People don't like Joe Buck as much as they like Brent Musburger.
They do not. There's a reason for that. Joe Buck he's kind of got that look, right? Like he's just too relaxed there, Brockmeyer. He's too relaxed calling the game. It's he's acting like he doesn't care that much about it. Like he's
Joe
too
Buck,
cool for school.
I mean, Brockmeyer and Joe Buck are, well, wait a minute. No, Joe Buck's friends with Hank Azaria.
Yeah, no, those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that too.
Yeah.
That's partly why I don't like Joe Buck.
Because of how much you like Hank Azaria?
Yeah, I'm sort of jealous.
He's talented.
Of the relationship.
Azaria's talented.
You wish you had a relationship with Azaria, right?
I do.
Sexy. Azaria and along came Paulie, shirtless.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hot stuff.
But
Hot tamale.
it's a surprise how buff he was. He worked out extra before that role.
Doesn't get any better than the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
It's me, your number one morning energy boost. Word around the kitchen is there's a new sports show coming out called Get Up, hosted by Greenie, Beetle, and Jalen, 7 to 10 a.m. And I used to think morning tea was my biggest threat.
Pineapple, overrated. Anything pineapple related is overrated.
How about pineapples? Your thoughts, Steph?
I'm allergic to it.
You know, it was a sign of wealth back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. If you wanted to prove to people that you were wealthy, you would carry around a pineapple.
Mike, what the hell are you talking about that people used to walk around with pineapples? What people? What are you talking about?
I think he's actually right about this.
Yeah, he's right.
You should probably apologize to Mike there. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, cars, homes, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and more at Progressive.com. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Bomani Jones going to join us in about an hour, noon Eastern. Here's your Sports Center update. The Jets have rescinded their offer to Ndamukong Suh. The NFL owners are now divided on players protesting during the national anthem. And finally, in World War II, British soldiers, got a ration of 3 sheets of toilet paper a day. Americans got 22. Huh.
That's unbelievable.
It really is. I mean, the Jets make this offer to Ndamukong Suh. They make an offer to him. He's one of the best D linemen in the entire NFL. The owner has no idea they've made an offer to Ndamukong Suh. Once the owner finds out they've made an offer to Ndamukong Suh, the owner says, "Nah, I don't want that guy," and they rescind the offer. What is going on there? It's crazy, right? I'm a Jet fan. I want Ndamukong Suh. Very upset by this. Why is the owner going to poke his beak here? I want Ndamukong Suh. I want him. They made an offer. The owner found out. They rescinded the offer. I want my Suh back. I do. What do you think happened there, Dan?
Owners get what they want.
Oh. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. We're on the move starting April 2nd. Check us out on ESPN News for all the details. Go to LeBatardShow.com.
A texter writes in here, I love Hank Azaria, but I'd rather watch Tom Coughlin shave his legs in the bathtub than sit through a baseball game. So, before I could check out Brockmeyer, I need a way to determine if Hank Azaria is funnier than baseball is insufferable. I don't know why Hank Azaria keeps coming up. Jim Brockmeyer is in with us all show today. Jim Brockmeyer has a tremendous television show on IFC that returns April 25th. Brockmeyer premieres on April 25th, Season 2. And I'm telling you, having seen Season 1 and having seen the first couple of episodes of Season 2, that this is a show that I am convinced that our audience will like.
Part of the fun is the skewering of baseball. I mean, most young people agree that baseball's insufferable. And that's part of what's made fun of in the show. You don't have to sit through a lot of baseball. And there's a lovely romance for you ladies. Lovely alcohol-fueled, soaked love story there. Which is,
not just fueled
which you'd
by
call
alcohol.
dirty, but I'd call, blue or risque. Or, kind of spicy. Spicy is better than dirty, isn't it?
But it's not just booze, though. It's drugs.
All drugs, yeah.
It's a lot of deviant proclivities.
There's many things get snorted. Few things that should not be snorted. I guess nothing really should be snorted. Is there anything that should be snorted?
Guillermo, put it on
What's
the
good
poll.
for you? That's
Guillermo,
snorted?
put it on the poll. Is there anything that should be snorted?
What's a healthy snort?
There's got to be something out there.
I guess somebody who laughs so hard that they snort. That happened to me one time when talking about Ken Obergefell in the era of Ken Herbeck. This isn't the verb to snort, but it is a snorting sound.
Obergefell?
I was talking about Ken Obergefell. This is from your time. This is something that Jim Brockmeyer would love. The look. In fact, in a new segment here that we like to call, go ahead and Google it. Go ahead and Google the look of Ken Obergefell so you know why it is that I snorted with laughter at this. And a sound came out of my body that I've never heard come out of my body before. I'm Dan Levitard of the Miami Herald.
And I'm Stu Gatz.
Who wants to bleep Ken Obergefell? Join us every day, 4 to 7 on the Dan Levitard Show on 790.
Besides the visual, I think that's the most random thing I've ever heard in my life. Who wants to bleep
Yes.
Obergefell?
Yeah.
Well, there's a famous story. There's a famous story.
That's what you're focused on, not the sound that came out of Dan's body.
Also, yeah, that sound is. Did you hurt yourself with that?
What? Or did I step on that like a toy duck of some sort? I don't know what that is. It's not a human sound. I think we played it for Ron McGill and asked him what kind of animal that was.
Wow, that does sound like a duck.
Time now for Stugatz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stu Gatz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
I was hoping I'd be here for this.
Yes!
I always wanted to sing that.
Nasal spray, by the way. Nasal spray, people are saying. But even that's really, really bad for you. I'm convinced nasal spray is terrible.
Yes.
It's perfect for you.
Oh, it's
All
good
right.
for Jim Brockmeyer.
So if you're not familiar with what this game is, this is the magic crate of content. Anytime this music plays, we have to respect this music. It's the $20,000 pyramid music. And so, Stugatz will now reach into the magic.
Unless Brockmeyer, our guest, would like to reach into this.
No, I'm scared.
Okay.
How about I reach in for you?
Let him decide.
I'll read the question. How about that?
Okay.
Let's see, and then
I'm rummaging.
I don't like how much control Brockmeyer's taking over the proceedings.
Is that too much? Am I overstepping?
Well, I'd like to ask the questions that Brockmeyer would like asked,
All right,
but I want to make sure that he's comfortable with whatever the questions are. So, which punctuation marks, Stugatz, would best describe your personality?
I was late on that one.
Probably the poop emoji.
Oh, but that's not.
Poop emoji.
Yep.
That's cheating.
That's not a...
That's not punctuation at all.
It is
Do you
today.
use that as punctuation?
You guys sound old. That's all I'm telling you.
Wait a
That's
minute.
what the kids are using these
So,
days.
like, instead of a comma, I might get a poop emoji from you?
Yes, from
In a
Brett
text?
Musburger, yes.
Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. Poop emoji is not... Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Is poop emoji punctuation? Nobody's going to say that's yes.
Fine, ampersand.
Ampersand.
Do you want this question, or would you like a different one, Brock?
What's the question?
Which punctuation mark would best describe your personality?
Oh, I see. Oh, poop emoji? Oh, that's very
you-
self-deprecating. That's low self-esteem. My goodness.
Whose career would you rather have, Michael Jordan or Howard Stern?
I'd like to combine the two so that I could, I could bet on myself. But what's the most... Sorry, I stepped on your da-da-da. So I could take bets. I could play golf and bet on what's the most shocking thing I would say to people. That's what I'd combine both.
That sounds like a a lot of fun.
Because Michael Jordan, he was that famous gambler, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
You don't know very much about any sport other than baseball, right? Like me and Stugatz want to talk about NFL draft season right now.
Oh, God. No, but it's not NFL draft season. It's baseball season. Let's get that. I'm sorry, young lady who wrote in and finds baseball insufferable, but it's about to be baseball season, so just get used to it. I know that sounds outdated. I know you young kids can't watch anything longer than YouTube, whatever it is, or whatever appears on your phone, or whatever a thingy, a Vine, whatever. That's old too, right?
Yeah,
now I sound
Vine.
a Vine is
Yes.
from 90 years ago.
That's right. A
What
Vine
is it now?
is a
Instagram.
snap,
Your
a
Insta
snap.
story.
Yes, a snap.
Your instant oatmeal.
Snap.
But I know that waiting for the new baseball season is like waiting for the new phone book to come out, or to try to buy music legally, or whatever the heck it is. But I'm an old school guy, So the rest of you can just go ahead, count down the days till the NFL draft, and watch the young boys run around at pro day, with old men taking detailed notes on everything they do and snapping pictures of them shirtless. That's what happened.
That's correct.
Did that sound creepy? Did that sound creepy to you?
It is creepy.
Yeah, because it is. It's deeply creepy.
They don't do that in baseball.
No, they don't. They let them wear clothes and they stay a decent distance from them.
Respectable people.
That's right.
Stugatz, we are going to get to your weekend observations next. I'm sorry that the creative content and
I've never been so happy to hear that music.
This
to be honest.
bossy Jim Brockmeyer is around here.
No sense to talk about the Golden State Warriors if we're looking at them as an injured bunch, because they're not going to win if they're injured.
Max,
Let me
you're
tell you
saying
why
there's
it
not
makes
that much
sense.
pressure because Clay's banged up too, right? That's essentially what you're saying.
If you're just joining us, we are watching First Take with Jim Brockmeyer. His new show, Brockmeyer, Season 2, premieres April 25th on IFC. We are back with Jim Brockmeyer after this.
Splash.
Capital One, party people. Again, Stugatz's weekend observations are next. Capital One Venture Card. You want rewards? They've got rewards. Take advantage of the Capital One Venture Card when you travel. Tell them, God.
Yep, with the Capital One Venture Card,
Can
you earn.
fill Steph Curry's shoes? It's not that you don't know that Klay. Hold on. It's not that you don't know Klay Thompson is injured. It's not that you don't know Kevin Durant is injured. What you're saying is, at some point in time, if you were to step on a court with the team without Steph Curry, do you believe in Kevin Durant the way you believe
I get
in
it.
Steph
And
Curry?
he's saying he has to make up for Clay as well, potentially.
The answer is no. Unlimited double miles on every purchase every day, not just on airline purchases. And you can use those miles towards any travel expenses like flights, hotels, rental cars, and more. Just book and pay for your travel using your Venture Card and redeem your miles towards the cost. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Credit approval required. Capital One Bank, USA, NA.
The best in the business, Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Hey, stadium bunting hanging here. Baseball is back. MLB opening day, Thursday on ESPN.
You're on ESPN Radio, Fake Donald Duck. Go ahead. Fake Pinocchio. You're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, boys and girls, I just want to say, now that I'm a real boy, I love red, white toes.
The limited fakes need to be saved. Fake John Lovett. Are you going to save it?
Get in touch with the show anytime through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, at Le Batard Show, at Stugat790, at Hank Azaria. It is time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
Texter writes in angrily, an ampersand is not punctuation.
You don't get the show.
Jim Brockmeyer in with us all show. Season 2 of Brockmeyer premieres April 25th on IFC. He's got feuds with Brent Musburger. He's an old-timey baseball announcer, drugs and drinking and sexual deviance he denies and dirtiness he denies. You can check out Brockmeyer, April 25th, IFC. He's got a feud with Joe Buck as well. I'd asked Jim Brockmeyer here before we get to weekend observations, which is funnier here as it looks like for Joe Buck. Does Joe Buck look more like the guy who walks up to your table and points to an empty chair and says, is anyone using this? And before you even respond, he picks up the chair and says, thanks, Ace. He gives the whole table a wink and a smile, and he walks away whistling the song Layla. Or...
couldn't you be more specific about how that goes down?
A little longer, a little wordier?
Yeah.
Or does he look more like the guy who stops you mid-convo, looks at his phone, and says, I got to take this. It's the Tampa office.
Definitely the latter.
Yeah. Time now for Stugatz.
I mean, they're both him.
All right, you can feud with him in a little bit. Time now for Stugatz's weekend observation.
It is time for Stugatz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Dan, we are just 2 Loyola wins away from me having serious issues with Sister Jean. Bill Raftery, on my list of top 5 most underrated broadcasters of all time. Brockmeyer, not on that list. Sister Jean, sorry Brockmeyer.
All right.
Sister Jean, filling out 2 brackets, one with Loyola Chicago as champion, and another with someone else. Sister Jean, the Stugatz is strong in you. Can't wait for Dan to dissect all the race angles on Leonard Hamilton and Dana Jacobson. Might as well stay home. Anyway, close your eyes for a second. Now imagine that interview. Now imagine Leonard Hamilton is white. Give me a worse headline than NFL defensive lineman indicted for injury to a 65-year-old paraplegic. Michael Bennett might have a screw loose. Also, not an expert, but perhaps working field security at the Super Bowl, preventing people from rushing the field, maybe, just maybe, isn't the greatest job for a 65-year-old paraplegic. What happened there?
Put her on the poll game.
Yeah.
Is it the greatest job for a 65-year-old paraplegic?
Madison Bumgardner broke a bone in his pitching hand. Madison Bummergardner. Whoop. Deserve that. Danny Hurley called UConn his dream job. He said the same thing about his last job, and he'll say the same thing about his next job. Sister Jean has a bobblehead, please. Does the bobblehead have the ability to make everything about themselves? Johnny Manziel, otherwise known as the last man Colin Kaepernick wants in his corner. I want to say we've seen the final game of Grayson Allen's college career, but for all I know, he has 4 more years of eligibility. Want to know what college basketball looks like? It looks like Duke and Kansas. Want to know what Duke basketball looks like? It looks like Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen.
Bill Raftery said, man.
Are you pronouncing that right?
Bill Raftery. Am I?
I don't know.
Raf said, man, he could stroke it. Long pause. Those jump shots. Thanks for clarifying. Kick save in a Butte. Nevada and Kansas State. Cupcake City for Loyola Chicago. How about you beat a 1 seed? Do something. What an easy run to the Final Four for Loyola Chicago. Go ahead, give me the one difficult team they played.
All of them?
No. The 60 minutes everyone was waiting for lived up to the hype. Incredibly well done story on the Greek Freak. If J.J. Watt had any guts, he'd refuse to play for the Texans until Bob McNair sells the team. Steve Kerr, please, I'm begging you, let Steph Curry coach 1 game in the first round so I could see Wilbon's head explode. This was the actual lead headline on ESPN.com last night. Steph Curry hoping to get back as soon as possible. Thanks. I didn't know that. Kansas State still irked by Kentucky players not shaking hands. I don't get it. They're surprised a John Calipari team showed a lack of sportsmanship. The best response ever to what sauce would you like with your steak happened over the weekend at the table next to me when a gentleman simply responded to the waiter, salt.
Really? Okay, delicious. Yes, what do you want as a side on your steak? Salt. Thank you.
Listen, if poop, the poop thing can be
Punctuation.
poop more can be punctuation, then salt can be a song.
Sister Jean, 2 wins away from a Jim Nance tie. Emma Gonzalez, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Whomever decided it was a good idea to bring Steph Curry back with a bad ankle in a meaningless regular season game against the Sacramento Kings and have him wear low-top shoes should be fired. Warriors owner Joe Lacob once said his team was light years ahead of everyone else in the NBA. Apparently, not when it comes to medicine. If I'm in the bottom half of the East, I try to position myself to play the Celtics. It's an annoying annual tradition unlike any other. Contract talks between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Le'Veon Bell. Here's an idea. Figure it out. Giants owner John Mara said he's tired of being asked about Odell Beckham Jr.'s behavior. John, a suggestion for you. If you want people to stop asking you, give up your ownership stake in the team. Otherwise, deal with it and shut up.
Wow.
Loyola.
Can I interject? What's with the little pinging noise?
Keep it moving.
Real? Okay.
Loyola Chicago, searching for a new head coach. Collision course.
Are you annoyed by the pinging
Very
noise?
much so. It's like being in a submarine.
Sister Jean, Loyola Chicago's new head coach. Collision course. Thank God, Jay Wright's hair advanced at all the college basketball experts who are now telling me we shouldn't be surprised that Loyola Chicago has made it to the Final Four. College basketball experts, all of you, the Stugats is strong in you. After a month, about a month.
I'm going to rate each comment as to how bitter it is.
Okay, about a month or so ago, Loyola lost by 34 to Boise State.
Mildly bitter.
Kevin Durant, just so we're clear, because Steph Curry is injured, any championship you win in a Golden State jersey will not count as an NBA championship in my personal record book.
Tremendously bitter.
Guess who's hurt again? Chris Paul.
Very bitter.
Guess who's healthy as an ox? Who's always healthy as an ox? LeBron James. I used to love when Coach K ripped off his jacket and yelled at his players. Now I laugh. Slapping the floor on defense while playing a zone is without a doubt the most Duke thing ever.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
Appropriate level of bitterness.
Yes, appropriate bitterness.
Sister Jean has made it to more Final Fours than Sean Miller.
Hilariously bitter.
Sam Hinkie, congratulations on making the playoffs. Jerry Colangelo, bad news. Any championship you win with Sam Hinkie's team won't count as a championship for you in my personal record book. Which means good news for you, Sam Hinkie. The rings are yours.
Nice.
Mets pitcher Zach Wheeler had so much promise. Sent to the minors. Wheels down. Speaking of down, that's where hell is. Down. And speaking of hell, are Bryles.
God, you're getting
Dan?
lazier and lazier.
What a bitter flourish at the end there.
Those are the weekend observations.
Texter writes in, only Stugats would be enraged by a 98-year-old nun doing his shtick so effortlessly. A shtick he's been trying to pull off less successfully his entire life.
That is Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network.
There is nothing better than the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Here, for every player, a moment comes. and a choice beckons. With that choice, we see champions made, victories earned, and an old truth presented that the timid may not fail, but here, rarely do they triumph. That fortune favors the bold at the Masters.
MLS, all eyes on us. It's time for our soccer. San Jose versus NYCFC, Saturday on ESPN2.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. I'll take you to burn.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your Sports Center update. The Jets have rescinded their offer to Ndamukong Suh. The NFL owners are now divided on players protesting during the national anthem. And finally, Donald Glover is no longer attached to FX's animated Deadpool series. Glover and his brother left the project due to creative differences. It would appear the entire project is in jeopardy as FX has also decided to bail. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So we've got Jim Brockmeyer in studio with us. He's a bit obnoxious, but he's very talented, and he's
just critiquing me the whole way through.
Sophisticated, learned. He's got feuds throughout the industry. If you're just joining us, he told the story earlier of Brent Musburger angrily taking a dump in his hotel room bed.
If you're going to do it, you're going to have to live with being talked about it. I mean, that's he chose to do it.
Well, what did Brent? Did you find out from a verified account if that was indeed Brent Musburger giving his thoughts on the 60 Minutes interview between the president, the president of the United States?
Well, he weighed in on Stormy Daniels, did he?
Yeah, he did. Hold on,
Brent
let me see
Musburger, who's got look, man. I'll just say it. He too has a dirty side. Brent Musburger, and his dirty side is reflected in this tweet from Brent Musburger commenting on the news of the night.
All right, so it's a verified account at Brent Musburger. Lads, we can never second guess the Donald Trump, the @real Donald Trump for his taste in women, but betting a porn movie star without a condom? Come on, man.
Musburger, working blue.
See, right? Punk ass B.
You've been saying it for a long time.
No, because what is that? What is from the mountaintop? He's pronouncing that kind of a judgment. And I mean, what is that? After all the porn stars he's betted, this is his advice he's given us now?
What is the greatest feud you have? Is it Musburger or is it Buck? Is it Joe Buck? Like throughout season 1 of Brockmeyer, you feuded with Joe Buck. He's much more successful than you are. He's not a minor league.
Easy.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's I suppose that's true, but only because he steps on people and doesn't care who it hurts and who he runs through. I have more of a love-hate relationship with Joe Buck and just kind of a pure hate relationship with Brent Musburger.
So it was love-hate with Joe Buck because you admire him, but you're also jealous.
Well, we came up together, in St. Louis, and so I love Joe. I was a groomsman at his wedding.
Oh, really? Okay,
yes.
I don't remember that from season 1. Were you a groomsman at his wedding?
I was. Yes, we talked about it, and but
that is a complete and utter lie. He has been saying that ever since my first marriage, which is over now, thanks in large part to some of the stuff I've had to deal with him.
Is this Joe Buck? Oh my God.
We found him at my first wedding in the bathroom, a pound of coke, and almost ended the marriage night 1, thanks to some of the stuff he did at the reception.
Typical of Buck. First of all, hi Joe. Can you let me have this? Do you have to appear everywhere? Is my appearance on Dan Le Batard something now you have to be on? Don't you have a supermarket opening you need to get to, or aren't you due at the bowling alley?
I'm trying to save my name. Everywhere I go, people have a Jim Brockmeyer just said this about you, a Jim Brockmeyer just said that. So I'm just trying to defend myself. I'm so tired of the petty jealousy and the whole You had the meltdown. I did.
You didn't have the drug problem.
I tell you
He's
what.
got a drug problem.
I know you
I
didn't have the drug problem.
Well, okay, I didn't. Well, I did, but I got past it.
Yeah, well, actually, I saved you. I made you, Joe Buck, because I bogarted all the drugs, and I got in a lot of trouble. Well, you stayed
Dan,
sober
do
as
you
a
know
jug.
Do you know how many interventions I've been to for Jim? I think it's like 7.
Actually, 8. You know how I remember that number? Because it's how many times you've been married. That's how I recall the number.
Well, look, I am so tired. I literally, I have letters on standby that I read for his interventions as I fake tears and, oh, you're so important to us, Jim. There's not one person at one of his interventions who gives 2 craps about his health.
Wow.
We're tired.
The last intervention, Joe didn't even show up in person. He was on. He streamed
Skype.
Yeah, and he read it. He read his testimony off a teleprompter.
I did. In fact, I didn't even write it.
No, he had it written for
I
him.
had a guy at Fox wrote it who's never even met Jim, and I was doing an LPGA skins event.
He was doing LPGA skins event for Fox Sports Online. And he would turn to the computer and read his testimony because he said
I'm sorry.
What?
It was a senior skins event.
It was a senior. Yes, I had $200 on Barb Moxness. That's how I remember it. And which you still owe me. And he says that he said how he needs eye contact is how he connects with his audience. That's how he started off the intervention.
I'm giving this room full of losers that have congregated for Jim's 8th intervention, some of my best material, and I'm not getting one laugh from anybody that I can detect on the other end of this Skype.
He didn't get one. You know why I didn't get one laugh? You know how he let off? This is the joke he let off with. Usually people laugh at that. That's why I get paid the big Joe Bucks. That's what the big line he went with.
Tell me that's not great.
Yeah, that's gold, Joe. And yet this man calls every sporting event in America, and I can't get a job at McDonald's. I don't understand it.
Joe, when you lock a booth from the inside and don't let anybody in while the whole thing comes crashing down around you, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, I did that once. You make a mockery of broadcasting like 5 times a week. I mean, congratulations on your ability to come off as a homer and a hater all at the same time to every possible team you're talking about.
Congratulations on your ability to talk like a complete automated clown 24/7. Nobody talks like this in the broadcast business or in real life. I'd like a skinny vanilla latte, please. I'm Jim Brock. Just put Jim on the cup. I'm Jim Brockmeyer. Maybe you've heard of me.
Well,
I worked in Omaha.
Well, at least I have a normal size head, Joe Buck. I mean, like some worst nightmare of Max Headroom come to life. It's like you're the Macy's Day Parade balloon version of yourself.
If you could do the 2 of our heads and get like an average of the 2 sizes, it would come out normal. Because yours is like a shrunken thing you would see in a village somewhere in Tanzania.
What are you talking about? What does that mean?
He accused you of a shrunken
You
voodoo
have a
head.
little head.
You have
I
a
have
small
a big head. Get over it.
Yeah, all right, hold on. Let me separate you two for a second.
Between big and enormous. You have an enormous head.
All right, hold on a second.
In every way, every possible sense of the word.
Right, metaphorical big head, actual physical big head.
Things orbit Joe's head.
That's right. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to separate you two in a second and see if we can mix Brent Musburger in the mix next segment.
Oh, no. This is the Dan Levatar Show on ESPN Radio.
Rule number 14. Wearing the correct attire opens doors.
But this is the first time this has ever been nominated as the best thing on the show. Guy writes in via Twitter. Easily my favorite part of every show is ridiculous thing gets said, and Roy follows it with an immediate, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Return the sender. Return the sender.
I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack.
I don't know what happened in Houston. I don't know what Michael Bennett and this police press conference that felt calling Michael Bennett morally bankrupt. And some of the things happening here are weird when you're talking about a 65-year-old paraplegic. If Michael Bennett did do what the police are saying that he did right now, it suggests that something is off with Michael Bennett, that it would make me think that there might be something to do with football there that's causing outlandish behavior. I don't know what's right there, but the Houston police did a very strong press conference as if they believe that Michael Bennett they're convinced that Michael Bennett trampled a 65-year-old paraplegic.
Amongst others, there were other people there trying to stop him from going on the field. But yes, that's what they believe. And Michael Bennett, according to reports, is going to turn himself in. So, I mean, that doesn't really have
But he
a
wants
choice.
to see his brother after the Super Bowl. He's emotional. I don't know how that happens, but felony on a 65-year-old paraplegic. It seems like they put that in front of the American people and said, here, make your own decisions. We've got the winning hand in terms of Michael Bennett has no chance against this. We can get out in front of everybody and just make it look as awful as possible, because who wouldn't side with a 65-year-old paraplegic? Regardless, I've taken the fun out of the show. Season 2 of Brockmire premieres April 25th on IFC. That was amazing with Joe Buck and Brockmire. I had no idea that their history went back that far. I thought Brockmire got beat up a little bit by Joe Buck there. I thought that maybe you had more in your arsenal to deliver Joe Buck's way, but we caught you off guard because we surprised you with Joe Buck all of a sudden appearing here and yelling at you.
I can throw down with Buck on a moment's notice, and I have many times, and I probably will again many times.
I would say, though, for keeping score, I would say no, Brockmire won that. Like the entirety of that battle, I would say Brockmire won it.
Supermarket opening.
Yeah, supermarket opening was just amazing.
Well, I mean, God forbid the man should be alone with his own thoughts for a second and a half. He has to say yes to every gig he's on. But, if my daddy handed me a career, I'd be doing that well as well. So, but God bless him. I wish him the best.
At Levitard Show, who won between Brockmire and Joe Buck? We are endeavoring to locate Brent Musburger crawling out of whatever brothel he's crawling out of in Vegas this morning. I say that without knowing it. It's just a reckless assumption. It sounds like, Brockmire, you know what the lifestyle is.
It sounds like he has the protocol down on how you go about bedding, by the way, porn stars. So, you sure didn't say betting?
Definitely betting.
Yeah.
Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
Well, yeah, just call Musburger at the Bunny Ranch and see what's going on.
Maybe he meant B-E-T-T, because that's all he does now. Maybe he was somehow turned this into a way to put a wager on it. I wouldn't be surprised.
I love the accusation of it's all he does now, as if he wasn't doing it, obviously, in every broadcast that he was covering.
Well, now he's open about it.
That was a secret. Musburger kept a dirty secret and not much of a secret for a long time. Has anyone made it clearer that they know what's going on in gambling during broadcast?
Al Michaels.
Yes, Al Michaels does that stuff with the spread, but Brent Musburger did it first.
Yeah, no, he's top of the mountain, Musburger, in terms of
Al
making
Michaels.
it obvious.
Look, Musburger was doing it back where Al Michaels was still bubbling about, do you believe in miracles? Michaels wasn't doing that in 1980. Musburger was doing it back then.
Correct.
Yeah, Musburger would openly curse when it was obvious whatever team he bet on just lost. You're like, oh, gee, it. You're like, wow, what's the matter? Oh, because the spread. Sure, that's what happened.
Right.
We never knew.
What happened with you and Joe Buck, though? This is not a story I'd ever heard before, the pound of cocaine at his wedding.
Joe Buck blames everything that goes wrong in his life, which is approximately three things. Everything else went right, on the amount of cocaine I did or whatever drug I took at any given moment. That's that's to blame. And I was a groomsman at his wedding. I understand why I forgot he's had so many of them. He's probably lost sight of it.
But a pound seems like an excessive amount to have at a wedding.
Well, I didn't do it all myself, now did I, guys? I was sharing it. I was like the cocaine caterer at the wedding.
That's nice.
Yeah, I kept it. Everybody was dancing, having a great time. I don't know what the problem was.
Well, what is Joe Buck's complaint?
I provided a service. I didn't charge him anything for it.
It was very nice of you. It's a good wedding gift.
I did have a little bit of what I guess psychiatrists would call a psychotic break. You know, and I was screaming and yelling obscenities, and I remember at one point I did. We call it. He says the bathroom. It's what I mistook for the bathroom. Is where they found it, which was not probably far enough away from the buffet table as it should have been. So I understand. I do understand on that one his upset. But I didn't end his marriage or anything. If anything, I brought them closer together. They kind of bonded over the trauma of the thing.
Were you in a janitor's closet or something?
No, I was openly out near the buffet table, and I was wearing. I kept running around. I had most of my clothes off, and I, for some reason, I was diving after everybody's socks and ripping their shoes off and trying to get the socks I felt were right for me. And by the end, I had like 16, 17 pairs of socks on each foot and nothing else. And I started. Well, how can I say this? I started pee-peeing, is that? And rolling around, kind of falling and tumbling. So I was like a water willy, one of those things, like a sprinkler, all over the.
With 17 pairs of socks on.
With nothing but a lot of socks on. That's what happened. So I understand why Joe's a little bit at his wedding.
But taking it a little too far. I mean, a little.
But I mean, hang on to it. Let it go. I mean, I just hung on to the thing so long.
Friends, what do friends do? They mess up and they forgive each other.
Yeah, come on. We forgive Joe Buck after every broadcast. If America can forgive Joe Buck after every single one of his broadcasts, he can forgive me for that.
Jim Brockmeyer in studio with us, Season 2 Brockmeyer, April 25th on IFC. Bomani Jones joins us next.
Mi familia, Dan and Stu will be back on ESPN Radio.
We need to let Stugatz call Majors. First of all, he doesn't know how to whisper. So everybody in their backswing would be like, "Hey, shut up, Faldo Jr."
I've talked to some people at ESPN about being a part of their golf company. Those talks haven't gone well. By not going well, I asked. They said no.
They went well for ESPN.
Style is immensely strong and immune to nearly any weapon. When it's properly used, it's almost invincible.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Bomani Jones going to join us in just a second here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Bubba Watson won the WGC Dell Technologies Match Play Final. Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt has given Loyola Chicago her blessing to license her name and image. Sister Jean going to get paid, the players not getting paid. How about that? Everyone making money, but the guys actually who got them to the Final Four. Okay, I'm done. And finally, thanks to a forfeiture order, the fate of Martin Scarelli's loan copies of Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin and Lil Wayne's The Carter Five rest in the hands of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Corelli's lawyers say they plan to appeal the forfeiture order. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. We're on the move. We're going to ESPN News April 2nd. For all the details, go to levitardshow.com.
What was that last story? Can you read that again for me, please, if you don't mind? I know you didn't like some of the words.
I don't like any of the words in here. And finally, thanks to a forfeiture order, the fate of Martin Scarelli's loan copies of Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin and Lil Wayne's The Carter Five rest in the hands of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Scarelli's lawyers say they plan to appeal the forfeiture order.
Shaolin.
Whatever. I read it once.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Bomani Jones with us now on ESPN Radio. What do you make of that last story there, Bo?
So tell me this, right? How many people do you know that no one has a single good word to say about? Because that's Skrelly. You can't find a single person to say a good word about this dude, and that is, of course, because he's the dude that jacked up the price on the AIDS drug. And then he does stuff. He's just awful. You ever see the things with the jury, with the jury selection for him, where they had people who were disqualifying themselves and giving all the reasons why they couldn't stand to be around him, and the one dude at the end who says, and he disrespected the Wu-Tang Clan.
Well, what should that lost Wu-Tang album be worth?
Unfortunately, it's like whatever that dude paid for it, because RZA said that what he wanted was to have something that people could like, this ultimate arrogant RZA stuff. It would be like displayed like a work of art in museums, and it would rotate, and people would come in and listen to it. And the dudes in the Wu actually wanted other people to hear this record that apparently nobody has heard other than one of the most awful men on planet Earth. Like that's how we got here. But I don't know. I don't know how much fun it is to be the only person that has a record. Like, if you can't talk about it with nobody, then what?
What did he end up paying for that, Mike? Do you know what he ended up paying for that? Was he bidding against himself? How many people wanted that album? Because it ended up going for more than $1 million, didn't it?
That's a great question.
All right, Mike is looking it up for us. Before we get back to that, the stuff happening with Odell Beckham has been interesting, Bomani, because I feel like he's millennial Randy Moss, millennial Terrell Owens, and he's running into this David Gettleman and giant football way, and they might trade him. And I can't believe that they might trade him.
If they trade him, let's call this what it is. If they trade him, they are the team that kept the kicker around after being busted for domestic violence, but got a problem with Odell because he does a little bit too loud for him. In spite of what they've seen happens when Odell Beckham does not play. Like, you know how crazy and insane that would be? The things that they're manufacturing into making things about Odell, in part because it's New York City, it's just crazy to me. And like, okay, yeah, you go ahead and trade him. Trade him where? What you going to get back for him? What you going to do after he's gone? You're going to trade your best player in 30 years because you don't like, what, the fact that he takes pictures and people get charged up about it? Come on, man.
That Pattery thing and the,
the drugs. Yes, I understand that the drugs is obviously a bad look, but if you think that league isn't replete with drug use because everybody's in pain.
Oh, I'm with Bomani. It's the best player they've had in 30 years.
Hold on. What drug are we talking about here? Because that one video they're talking about, I know people mention cocaine, but I haven't seen anybody intimate that Odell was the one using the cocaine. Like, if you talk about him using cocaine, the problem is not we need to trade him. The issue is, yo, man, can we do something to help you out with you using this cocaine? Like, that tells you how disingenuous all of this is. That, Odell Beckham might be on drugs, and nobody cares about the might be on drugs. It's just that you can't take pictures if you got drugs around. Come on.
Well, one of the things that's interesting here, though, is the idea that the Giants might trade what we know to be, people will argue about this, but the best receiver in football. That they might trade him over, this last straw of picture with drugs. And how many people showed up for the Manziel tryout? Like, that's
13 teams.
No, how many people? Like, how can that be? How can those two things coexist? You don't know if Manziel's any good. You know how good Odell Beckham is.
Yeah, no, come on, man. Like, it's all so dumb. And the thing that gets me, like, I don't know if you saw this, when there was a story that had come out that allegedly Odell Beckham got punched in the face at the club in Atlanta, right? This dude that writes for the New York Daily News put that up instantly, running it off of a blog post. It was a blog post somebody else had put up. He got it, he ran it, and then wrote this thing, and then at the bottom it was the Giants have a decision to make as to whether or not to trade Odell Beckham. 15 minutes later, or something in that neighborhood, Beckham's people refuted it, and now all of a sudden he's like, wait, this video was he has become something, especially for media people who are not comfortable with young dudes acting the way the young dudes act. He is the representation of everything they don't like. Hell, in a much more playful way, for me, he is the representation of everything that I don't like young dudes doing.
I'm
not trying to get him run off his job.
Right, and I was just going to ask you, does he make you feel old? Because him doing the diva wide receiver, he's doing the diva wide receiver stuff. You and me liked the diva wide receiver stuff when it was Terrell and Randy Moss because we were of that age. Now you've got a millennial doing it, and he's doing it in a millennial way. What do you do with all of that?
He's doing it with that funny haircut. I feel like everything I feel about him would be completely different if he didn't have that funny haircut, which, by the way, has infected the streets like a virus. All kinds of kids out here growing out there, like LaMelo Ball. You look at LaMelo Ball, his whole steez is Odell Beckham. Right. His whole steez. Like, for the young, flashy millennium dude, that's the guy that they want to be. And, you know, I ain't really about that sort of life, but you get to be young and ridiculous. I go back now and look at the pictures of us in them big old clothes and everything else. It's like, okay, that was our brand of ridiculous. This is theirs.
Bo, what do you make of what's going on with Michael Bennett? I'm certain you're aware of what's going on, the story there. What do you make of everything that's happening with him? He's going to turn himself in today, reports said.
I don't know how anybody can purport to have any idea what happened there. I don't. We'll see what it is. What it sounds like to me, based on the description, is if it went, you know, the way that they put it out there, is that there were a bunch of security people there. Michael Bennett pushed them. One of the people who happened to be pushed was the woman in the wheelchair who's 66 years old. It does not sound as though Michael Bennett was like, ooh, woman in a wheelchair, let me hit her with the Heisman. Like, not even in the description that the police gave does it appear to be that. But come on, man, how can people look at that and not see a little bit of shakiness involved in the fact that this happened in February of 2017 and allegedly, and now it just comes up at this moment in 2018. And the police said, well, we had higher priority cases that we had to deal with. They dealt with Tom Brady and that jersey within 2 or 3 days. Remember that? That was the same Super Bowl where they had to go track down their jersey. They dealt with that immediately. So you're going to tell me a felony assault is of lower priority than that one? How does that work?
What did you make of that press conference? I was surprised at how strong. I didn't understand the point in coming that strong at Michael Bennett, calling him morally bankrupt.
Well, A, he's an easy target for a number of reasons, but one of them being that he is someone who has a lawsuit filed against a law enforcement agency. Like, I don't think that you can discount that part of it, regardless of what you think happened in Las Vegas, the tenor of what happened in Houston. It's hard not to think that those two things are connected. It becomes very difficult to think that because that was like a remarkable level of vitriol towards someone that they had not even come across at that point, especially when their story, like, remember the story that they gave was we couldn't talk to him then because it was too much chaos, and then you see the pictures of Michael Bennett after the game sitting on the NFL Network set. You mean to tell me at no point was anybody able to get, like, it was just full-on chaos the whole way and nobody was ever able to find Michael Bennett? Now, this thing ain't, no, this too, this case ain't gonna hold up. He went and hired Rusty Hardin, and Rusty Hardin managed to get Roger Clemens off for that perjury case where Clemens invited himself to Congress so he could, at least it sounded like, tell us a bunch of things that weren't true.
You must love Rusty Hardin so much.
I mean, hey, man, the crazy lawyer guys are funny to me, right? And he is hard to beat.
I mean, he's the best. Bomani, we'll talk to you tomorrow, sir.
All right, man.
Splash!
Jim Brockmeyer, I don't know how to explain this to people, but he was just drinking that entire segment in the bar downstairs at the Clevelander, and we couldn't drag him away from the bartenders and waitresses. So Jim Brockmeyer will be back here in a second. Dollar Shave Club people, we think, but he's hard drinking Brockmeyer. God knows what he's been doing in that Clevelander bathroom. Surprised he's not coming in here with white powder all over his face. The weekend is over, and it's time to get back to work. Go back to the office looking clean and sharp by using the tools from the good folks at Dollar Shave Club. Look at Stugatz. Look at that Stugatz face. Clean shaven and hideous. Dollar Shave Club did the clean shaven part. The hideous was his parents. Tell him, Stugatz.
That's not nice. Dollar Shave Club delivers to you everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best. Shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, but true. And, of course, the best razors I've ever used. For a mind-blowing experience, join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll get the 6-blade executive razor plus the trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and one white Charlie's. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours today at dollarshaveclub.com/Dan. Check them out, guys. It's dollarshaveclub.com/Dan.
You're listening to the Sweaty Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Jessica's house?
This is what our version of financial planning looks like. Tomorrow's important, but so's making the most of the house before they're out of the house. Spend your life living. Find an advisor at northwesternmutual.com.
Yanni out of a boo-boo.
There you go.
Thank you. I mean, it rolls right off the tongue.
All right,
It's
let's
easy.
have an Antetokounmpo off, even though now I'm pronouncing it wrong, between Ryan Rucco and you. Ready? Ryan Rucco goes first. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Let me hear the Greek freak pronounce it in his own voice.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yanni out of boo-boo. If you missed any of the show, you can listen to all 3 hours of the Dan Le Batard Show on demand in the ESPN app, plus our Miami only hour that airs before the show. And now you can subscribe to our Best of podcast. It's all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app. It doesn't feel like spring without the first tulips of the season from 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order 30 assorted tulips from 1-800-Flowers, you'll get them for just $30. Great deal, simple to order. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN.
We've been telling you all show that Jim Brockmeyer's in with us. If you don't know what that show is, Season 2 on IFC premieres April 25th. He's an old-timey baseball broadcaster who isn't terribly self-aware but is funny. And Jim Brockmeyer has spent the entire show with us today. It has been an uncommon delight. I understand, and I'm surprised no one's asked you about this yet because I think TMZ would pick it up. Yeah, well, your good friend O.J. Simpson is out of jail now, and so I didn't know what you were.
First Musburger, then O.J. And
Well-
you hit me with Buck, too. This is like a trifecta of horror. Well, I don't like to talk about O.J. either, but since you were kind enough to bring it up, yes, it's common knowledge. Many years ago, O.J. Simpson, I don't know any other O.J. I guess there are a couple of them. That's orange.
Right.
But Al Michaels and O.J. and myself, we owned a racehorse called Nags to Riches back in the day. But I've talked a lot about it. I don't like to go into any of my many O.J. stories for obvious reasons. I like to keep them on the lowest of all downloads. And I am not alone in that. Am I? I mean, he's become like the Voldemort of football.
You gotta
He
be
who
very
shall
careful.
not be named.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
gotta be
come on.
Yes.
The NFL. Can I reveal something to you?
Be careful. We're partners with the NFL.
Well,
ESPN is partners with
You
the
started with the O.J. thing. So this is on you now, Dan Le Batard,
Okay,
as
well,
most things seem to be
Yeah.
that happen. But the NFL has erased. There's no footage of O.J. that exists anymore. It's gone. It's like the Nixon tapes. They've erased it all.
Really?
If there were a 30 for 30 on the Buffalo Bills, there'd be this mysterious gap. They'd go right from Jack Kemp to Jim Kelly. That's what you'd get. But we should get off it because Roger Goodell's going to hit me with a trank dart soon, and I'm going to single-handedly cost ESPN their NFL contract.
I would love some stories involving O.J. Simpson and Brockmeyer. I want to test this boundary. I want the bumper card to rub against. I don't mind. I don't mind upsetting the NFL or O.J. Simpson.
That's obvious.
Or Jim Brockmeyer, for that matter. I'd like some of the stories. If there are any stories to be told that involve parting with O.J. Simpson, that's fine. But if I have to respect it, then I will respect it.
I'm not going to go there. I mean, look, I've talked about. Think of the things I've talked about cocaine, mounds of cocaine, and pooping in beds, and all kinds of things. And the OJ stuff is much worse. I can't go there.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't clean it up.
You and Stugatz, though, felt like kindred spirits before the show talking about naked pooping. It was a very weird conversation to witness. You and Stugatz just saying, yeah, I'm a naked pooper.
I mean, I prefer I guess I always have the choice, but if I'm close to being...
Yes, you do.
I guess I do. If I'm close I won't go to extreme limits to get naked when I poop. But if I'm close to being naked already, meaning I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops, I will take those things off quickly, and I prefer to poop while naked.
Boy, I can't decide which detail of that monologue is most disturbing to me. which image will linger longest in my brain.
Right.
I'd go the flip-flop.
Yeah, the flip-flops.
Yeah.
Somehow that was
I
the
don't
worst.
know why that's the one that
Yeah,
stuck,
like-
but he's got can openers on the bottom of them.
I don't understand. Yeah. No, well, look, I was talking to, again, my obsession with that Hank Azaria fella.
Yeah.
His son is 8 and only poops naked, so I hear. And I know a lot about it.
I'm glad it's something you only hear.
It's really unbelievable the amount of information that you have on Hank Azaria, who's not your friend in any way.
I don't care for the man, but the silly voices and everything. I think it's bad to make mockery of voices. It's a deep, rich voice, and stick with that. Just stick to your own voice. But his son, not my son.
His son.
His son will only poop naked.
Hank
So I understand why
Azaria,
an 8-year-old.
it's very
Actually, I
strange.
don't even understand why an 8-year-old. What's with the naked?
But Brockmeyer could be the dad. I mean, potentially.
Anything's possible.
But I don't understand why you know that Hank Azaria's 8-year-old son is a naked pooper. That's creepy and weird that you would know that.
It is creepy, but no creepier than the fact that Stugatz needs to be naked pooping. I mean, why? Are you worried you're going to get splash on your clothes? Like, what's with it?
What is the concern?
Is it a constriction of your leg? Like, do you need to spread your legs out wide? What is it?
Bingo, the constriction of the legs. Yes, I
figured it out.
Look at
It's
that.
cathartic, man.
Look,
Just being
Dr.
naked,
Mark
yeah.
back there nodding vigorously, saying, yes, it's obvious to all. Why wouldn't you just spread
Well,
your
he
legs?
is Dr. Mark Agronin. Can I shout this out? Dr. Mark Agronin is with us. He's a psychiatrist. So he could probably help you out, Stu guys. He could probably help you figure out what you got going on here with the naked pooping. I mean, I guess it has to do with some Freudian thing of wanting to be with your mom.
Go ahead and figure out how to segue from
I'm
that
just going to
into...
guess. Sitting across from you. No, I think that makes sense. I think Dr. Agronin will back me up.
Yes, I think we all agree on that. There's something strange with his mom. Do you want to explain?
Well, I don't know. It's some kind of like going back to the womb thing. I don't know. Where we're just free to do whatever we need to do. Naked, floating around in there.
The hippie in me, yeah.
Do you use one of them squatty potties?
All right, let's go to commercial.
Oh, sorry.
Give me more of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Chicken minis. Get the feeling of Chick-fil-A for breakfast.
Look at you, Tyson Anytizers and Crispy Strips. You help fuel greatness. You'll just have to make the ultimate game day sacrifice and be eaten.
Orange, yellow, purple, pink, blue, magenta, green. Color will he choose? Which 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 color will he choose? Today.
All right, so here's where we are on the list. Oof. I've got to respect that music, right? I have to stop what we're doing and respect the poorly produced bit.
Poorly? What? ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your Sports Center update. Bubba Watson won the WGC Dell Technologies Match Play Final. Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt has given Loyola Chicago her blessing to license her name and image. And finally, Elon Musk removed SpaceX and Tesla from Facebook as part of the recent hashtag delete Facebook movement. How do we delete Elon Musk? For all the latest headlines and information, tune to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
We've got to get to the funniest thing of the sports weekend in a second. We also have to say goodbye, unfortunately, to Jim Brockmeyer. Our thanks to him for
urinating all over the show today in his special way.
This is saying something for me, the least amount of work I have ever done on a radio show.
We haven't had to do very much. Thank you for that, Jim. We appreciate it. Now let's do...
Oh, my pleasure. That's all I was going to say. Let's do what? I can't wait to what we do next.
The funniest thing of the sports weekend. It's got some amazing imaging. You've been someone who comes. You were in Heat with Pacino, or not you?
You're talking about Hank Azaria.
I'm sorry, my bad.
You're the one who seems obsessed.
My bad. Well,
exactly. You're right. Yes.
You've been in Heat with. I'm sorry, Hank has been in Heat.
Yeah, well, he has for a long time too. He actually got in a little trouble with that.
Yeah, it's a big fine, man.
Let's do the funniest thing from the sports weekend.
Hey people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
Funniest thing from the sports weekend is brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
Chris, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Gronk and Shaq breakdancing at Ultra.
Oh my God, I know we all know that Shaq is big, but when you can put your Gronk on your shoulders and just carry him around.
Wow, is that what they did?
I mean, yes, Gronk just climbed on Shaq's shoulders, and Shaq just walked around with Gronk looking like a child on Shaq's shoulders.
I'm sorry, but I'm sure that hurt Shaq. There's no way he didn't set Gronk down and then go, oh man, and then has
it looked, right, Chris? It looked like Shaq didn't have any problem with the strength of picking up Gronk and walking around. And that's not Shaq in his prime, that's Shaq in his 40s.
Looked like he could have squatted him.
Yeah, it did.
I'm with Brockmeyer, though. There had to be, like, some level of pain, something. Like, as he's putting him down, I'm with you. There has to be something.
If there's one thing I know, it's old men's problems. And Shaq didn't walk away from that unscathed.
It's an important story to add your cynicism to. I'm glad you both agree on it. It is. It's great. Guillermo, what is the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Mad Mike Hughes launching himself 1,800 feet into, not space, but 1,800 feet into the air on a self-made rocket trying to prove that the Earth was flat.
Okay, and so 1,800 feet didn't prove anything, right? It just made he landed with a splat.
He still believes it's flat, so I guess proof enough for him.
Okay. Roy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Albert Bell's mugshot.
What happened? I didn't see that.
He was arrested for DUI and indecent exposure.
Yeah,
It's been 23 years since he did that famous flexing pose in the Indian
Is he
dugout.
heavy? Is he heavy?
Yes, he's very heavy.
Albert Bell was very feared. He was for those of you who don't know, he was the most feared player in baseball in every way. Don't mess with the thermostat or the music. He will hit you with a bat. He was nuts. And now his mugshot reveals that he's just fat.
A DUI and indecent exposure? Both?
Yeah.
Even I had never achieved that.
Really?
Yeah, not at the same time. I've
Right,
both.
you
I've
have
done
it.
both.
Right.
But not together.
Right, of course.
What was he, driving with his pants down? I don't understand.
He also got charged with something called an extreme DUI. An extreme DUI.
Have you ever gotten one of those, Jim?
What is that, a new sport? Can we expect that at the next Winter Olympics? Extreme DUI.
I'd watch that.
I would, me too.
Hey, some in, yeah.
Mike, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
World soccer god Zlatan Ibrahimovic has signed with MLS. He'll be playing in Los Angeles for the LA Galaxy. He took out a full-page ad. The ad said, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome."
Is he the most arrogant person in the history of sports?
Oh yeah, and he's
Him or Ali?
No, Ali, but the Zlatan, as he calls himself, knows his character.
Zlatan.
The Zlatan.
The Zlatan.
The Zlatan.
Not just a Zlatan. He is the Zlatan.
The Zlatan. That's right. Stugotz, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
MMA fighter Drew Chapman did a front flip.
I saw this. This was so funny.
He did it off the back of his opponent after he was knocked out.
That's right. It's the first time I've ever seen that. He knocked out his opponent, wins the match. He does a front somersault to celebrate it off of his opponent's spine and immediately gets disqualified.
Yes.
So he won and then immediately gets disqualified, so he loses.
Wow. Was the opponent like unconscious or was he just on
Woozy.
the ground?
Woozy.
Woozy. And he did a backflip off of
No,
that.
a front flip. Get your facts right.
Backflip he might have gotten away with. But front flip, that's too far.
That's DQ.
Yeah.
What was the funniest thing from Jim Brockmeyer's weekend? Is there anything that you saw that was particularly
provided
amusing?
with a lovely list here. I'm curious. Can I see? I'm curious about Coach K's face the last 30 seconds of overtime against Kansas. What was so funny about that?
It was just Coach
Do we
K's
have
face.
that?
He was losing.
Coach K face.
We don't have
You
it.
just was
What do you
making
think?
Coach K face.
You think I could just throw it to video
I
of
thought
Coach K?
maybe
No,
you have
I
that
cannot.
capability.
No, you are a professional. You work in a professional setting.
I'm sorry.
I just work for the Worldwide Leader.
But just what I imagine Coach K's face to be, I'm going to say is the funniest
Yes.
thing of this week.
That's because that's what's on the list. Let me see what the list of choices are. What were your rejected choices on
There were
funniest
many.
things
There were a lot.
of the sports weekend? You can't beat Drew Chapman doing a front flip to celebrate.
That was his. He was in a constant state of screaming.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's my. Stugatz just showed Jim Brockmeyer the photos of Coach K screaming. What's next for Jim Brockmeyer? Before we get you out of here, what is next for Jim Brockmeyer? You've got this show on IFC. April 25th. Season 2 starts. It's uproariously funny.
Thank you, Dan Levitard. We meant it to be serious, but it came out funny. So I guess we'll release it as a comedy. But, you know, as always, I'm hoping to land a play-by-play job, a network play-by-play job. I was kind of hoping that the heat off of this radio show would accomplish that for me. But, well, now I see that heat as the temperature and force of an old man's last dying breath. So I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. But, you know, yeah, like you said, till then, you can stream Season 1 of Brockmeyer on Hulu or on demand, wherever you find it. And April 25th, as you've been kind enough to point out.
Suddenly you know a lot about this interweb all of a sudden. Hulu.
Streaming on the Hulu. Yeah,
Yes,
that's what the
it's
kids
amazing,
told me.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Streaming on Hulu. Thank you. Yeah, when I was self-promotion, I know what I'm talking about. When it has to do with you and your show, it's a bunch of nonsense
That's right,
gobbledygook that annoys me. But my show streams on Hulu.
It's amazing how smart you became.
Yeah, all of a sudden you become really adept at how it is to pull up Jim Brockmeyer stuff.
Well, for the important stuff, yes. And we'll premiere on IFC. Conversely, going back to old school, obscure stuff, we premiere on IFC on a weekly basis on April 25th. You'll definitely have to check your local listings for that, because I promise you won't be able to find IFC on your own. But they assure me it's a real network. It actually exists. They promise me that. I'll take their word for that. But, yeah, IFC, April 25. Happens to be that Hank Azaria's birthday. His 54th birthday. Wow. Weird, man.
If you guys love Jim Brockmeyer, and if you love what Hank Azaria has done for our show over the last couple of weeks, there is a cause that he cares about that wants awareness, and Hank Azaria believes in the care for old people a great deal. So tell people about how they can care about the thing that you care about.
Thank you. It's Hank now.
No, I don't want you to do it as Hank. You need-
as Brockmeyer?
I'm insulted that Hank has made
Oh,
an
my
appearance. It's
God,
a real
that's-
jerk move by you. You were going fine.
What do you mean?
No, he brought in Hank, and because now he had to take it seriously.
You know what? It's better if Brockmeyer delivers this news. I'm talking about Miami Jewish Health Systems. That's a local. This is real, though. Even though I'm saying this, Brockmeyer.
It's okay.
This is real.
You're right. This thing is real. Okay.
You're speaking of this is not a drill.
This is not the cocaine at Joe Buck's wedding.
No, that was all. Well, that was real too.
It was
But
2
this
pounds.
is
It was not 8 pounds. of
realer
cocaine.
than
It was
real.
2 pounds.
Miami Jewish Health System. It's a local old folks home that Dr. Marco Gronin is the head of. He runs. He's here with us today. We referred to him earlier. He's a brilliant man. His new book is called The End of Old Age. It's a brilliant book. It was just lovingly mentioned, was glowingly mentioned in the New York Times this last weekend. It's a wonderful book.
I've made you uncomfortable doing this as
No.
Brockmeyer,
I'm
right?
happy to do it. It's easier for me to do anything as Brockmeyer. Just ask my wife. So, Mark, basically they're starting this new, it's called an empathic care village. It's empathic care for folks who suffer from Alzheimer's, like my grandma did, who is under Dr. Gronin's care. My mom is under Dr. Gronin's care. She is 90. I'm in town in Miami here for her 90th birthday celebration with the whole rest of my family, which is a whole different story, Dan Levitard, that I won't get into here. And they do incredible work. They're creating an environment where this is weird to do with Brock. I'm going back to Hank Azaria for a second.
Oh, for the love of
I
God.
have to.
We're going to have to get rid of
because
this.
This is
right in the middle while he's...
No, it's an amazing...
No, do it as Duffman. Do it as Duffman.
It is.
Do it as Duffman. Close us out as Duffman.
I can't do it as Duffman because I'll blow my voice out.
You can do it as Duffman. Tell the people, I'll give them the website. You do it as Duffman. Where's the website? Where's the information?
It's a place where old people who suffer from dementia and memory loss can live. I like to think of them as free-range old people. And they can walk around with people who are trained to be empathic and caring and loving towards them in an environment where they're not confined and they can just live and be happy under the care of Dr. Michael Groney. And they've recently received a grant of $15 million. And they will be opening soon. And it is a wonderful cause.
Miami Jewish Health System.
Oh, yeah.
.org. MiamiJewishHealthSystems.org if you are interested in helping Hank Azaria, who has helped us for free over the last couple of weeks, and he would have been very expensive. Hank, thank you for being on with us. It was a delight from start to finish.
Thank you, Dan Levitt.
Hey, these stats are not going to read themselves.
Like a front row seat to see Hank Azaria
it was.
work.
It was a real pleasure. Real pleasure. Dollar Shave Club, and help out the things that he cares about if you want to help out Hank Azaria, because he did it all for us for free. Dollar Shave Club has products that venture outside of shaving to keep your body clean in the shower and other areas of the bathroom and keep your skin moisturized as well. Tell them, God.
Dollar Shave Club delivers to you everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best. Shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, they've got it all. And, of course, the best razors I've ever used for a mind-blowing experience. Join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll get the 6-blade Executive Razor Plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and one-wipe Charlie's. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours today at dollarshaveclub.com/Dan. Check them out, guys. We all love it. We swear by them. It's dollarshaveclub.com/Dan.
Give me more of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I am the creamy new peanut butter cookie dough blizzard only at DQ. And I am the classic chocolate chip cookie dough blizzard also only at DQ. Will you pick me or me? Decisions. Because I'm not fast food. I am fan food.
Thanks to Hank Azaria for joining us in studio and giving the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
So we got to update the polls at Le Batard Show on Twitter, and Mike's hassling me. Go ahead. Jesus.
Oh, yes. Yes. Big day.
Dance, baby, colors, orange, yellow, purple, pink, blue, magenta, green. Which color will he choose? 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 Today.
Dandelion. It's Dandelion.
Whoa!
Dandelion, yeah. That's Dandelion.
That's a 28, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Dandelion.
Wow.
Let's go ahead and update the polls.
Aqua?
At Le Batard Show is how we update the polls. At Le Batard Show on Twitter. Our thanks to Hank Azaria. That was amazing. He's going to be back in April. It was really an honor to do that with him. It was fun to do comedy with someone that talented.
I'm not kidding. The Brockmeyer-Joe Buck fight that happened on our show earlier today.
It was great.
It was incredible. If you're just tuning in, peep our podcast.
I mean, it's crazy. I've told you before, Joe Buck is funny. He was failed by his producers on the show on HBO. Joe Buck is legitimately funny. just the expectation of funny buried him on HBO. He's not John Oliver, but he's legitimately funny. Let's update the polls at Levitard Show.
The polls are brought to you by JCPenney. Dress the part without spending a ton. Save 50% on select suits at the JCPenney men's wardrobe sale only at JCPenney. At Levitard Show on Twitter. Is Midnight Express the most famous prison movie? 89% of the audience said no. Is American History X a prison movie? 71% of the audience said no. Can you say toy boat fast 5 times? 71% of the audience said no. Does Leonard Hamilton look like the 1970s?
I mean, doesn't he?
Well, 85% of the audience said yes.
It's a television show from the 1970s. I don't know what he's playing. What's he playing in it? I feel like it's a second or third police officer in Streets of San Francisco. Does anyone have anything better than that?
I'm good with police officer. Why San Francisco? Just out of curiosity.
It's just Streets of San Francisco.
Okay.
It's the gritty film that there was on that show,
right,
and the number of brown suits that Carl Malden was running around in. I mean, that's what it was. That's what gave off the 70s. And within that, you could see Leonard Hamilton with a flowered shirt. You can. Big collar. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're right. What is the best prison movie? I mean, Going Away.
Shawshank?
Yeah, Shawshank. Hold on.
Midnight Express, man. Midnight Express was more of a cultural phenomenon than Shawshank Redemption.
Midnight Express got 1% of the vote.
That's fine. That's young people are dumb. That's not my fault. Like, I love Shawshank too.
I mean, if 1% can't get you to admit that you're wrong.
No, but you guys don't understand though. Midnight Express, for people of that age, Midnight Express is the most seminal prison movie ever made.
I'll tell you, young people being dumb is the longest yard, only getting 4% of those votes. That's an outrage.
Maybe they were so young that they thought it was the Adam Sandler remake.
Which would you rather have lost?
You whippersnappers don't know anything about that prison movie.
Which would you have rather lost? Trey Wingo sounds like a 3-count chicken wing appetizer dish at a Mexican restaurant run by white people, or Jackie McMullen looks like your mom's friend Carol. 59% of the audience said Jackie McMullen.
Oof.
Yeah. Is Vicodin, Percocet, and rye whiskey grew on trees? If it did, would those trees only exist in Jim Irsay's garden? 91% of the audience said yes. Is the poop emoji a punctuation mark? 52% of the audience said no. That's
closer.
The older portion of the...
Closer than I thought it would be.
Is there anything that should be snorted? 59% of the audience said no. Who won, Brockmire or Joe Buck? 74% of the audience said Brockmire. Those are the polls.
Somebody's nominating Bad Boys with Sean Penn for Best Prison Movie. You are old and your taste is terrible.
Maybe old, but pretty good movie.
I like Bad Boys. That can't be the best prison movie of all time. I remember Bad Boys.
Chris is so confused that there's another movie called Bad Boys.
Chris is thinking about the Martin Lawrence, Will Smith vehicle that was supposed to be Dana Carvey and John Lovitz. That's a true story. Bad Boys was supposed to be Dana Carvey and John Lovitz. Think about that for a second. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Wow, Chris, that's not Master of the Obvious there where your face goes, that's a totally different movie. You don't say. Is that right, Chris? You think John Lovitz and Dana Carvey would have looked differently fighting Shannon Briggs and that Haitian gang in the Miami streets than Will Smith and Martin Lawrence looked on it? Is that right? It would have been better, right? It would have been better.
We'll talk to you mañana. This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Oh, yeah.